Nancy Posey, and I'm here today with Mason Vi on behalf of the IBMA Songwriting Committee, the Songwriter Story Series. A native of North Carolina, Piedmont, but you recently relocated to Florida and I think have relinquished your bachelor status. Congratulations.
Yes, I'm a married man now.
That's right.
Just got married a month ago.
More things to write about. So congratulations and best wishes there. But we're here today to talk about your newest single, There Goes Another One.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. You know, the press has a lot of descriptors of your music style. I've seen you Appalachian funky folk, soulful acoustic, rhythm and bluegrass, groovy Americana. But you really seem to be comfortable in the bluegrass corner these days.
Well, I love acoustic music.
Right.
And it was one of those things that I started to realize recently. I said, how come I never just start playing rock and roll more? You know, I love rock and roll.
Right.
That's about all I listen to, really. And I think it's mostly because it's just easier to play acoustic music. There's an ease of access to it.
Right. You don't have to plug it in.
Maybe I'm lazy. I don't know. You just are like, you can grab it, and it's not super loud and annoying to everyone when you play the acoustic guitar versus the electric guitar. So I just keep playing that acoustic guitar just because. Also, it's, sometimes it's all them pedals and dials and everything, which now I've gotten into that a little bit when I play some live shows.
Right.
But I don't know. That was always scary when I was younger about trying to get the tone right and all that stuff. And it was just easier to play acoustic.
Yeah.
And my dad kind of paved the way with taking him and Mom to fiddlers conventions.
Oh, yeah.
Galax and Mount Airy and going to Merle Fest, like we were just talking about before the interview started here, and a whole bunch of slew of other ones that people hadn't heard of as much. But when I was a little kid, just growing up in the jam circle, Dad was playing on stage, and I wanted to be like him, and Mom was always very encouraging, and Mom was a deadhead back in the day, so always big influence on that kind of music as well. So. Yeah, bluegrass has just kind of been around me, and it's kind of hard to get away from.
That's right.
Yeah, but I, for this album specifically, wrote these songs not even specifically thinking bluegrass at all. Mm-hmm. But I thought in my head, just because I had this bluegrass label deal with Mountain Fever Records, who I'm very excited to be putting that album out with them, but they asked me to do another one with them because I did my last one with them, and so basically I said, all right, how can I get the most straight up driving traditional sounding bluegrass band, that's going to make these songs that are maybe a little Americana, rock and roll, blues, folky, country, and turn it into a killer bluegrass album. And I got the great Aaron Ramsey to produce it, who he is known for playing with Mountain Heart, and he did some stuff with Tony Bryce back in the day, as well as just being his own artist in general. So I really respect his picking and playing and musical style and sensibilities.
I think even that first single, Hey Don't Go, you released an Americana version of it, but you also recorded it as a bluegrass song, didn't you?
Yeah, so that one is going to be a different version for the album.
That's what I was
that we re-recorded it.
Right.
So it would be the same format. I wanted the album to sound like a very even listening with the exact same band throughout the whole experience. So it's not just like, all right, hey, this one song has drums or whatever, none of the other ones do. And I wanted it to sound cohesive, I guess.
Right. And you've written songs for a lot of other people that have landed on some pretty impressive albums. I think you've had some songs with Molly Tuttle that brought home a little bit of Hardware, Dale McCurry. How's the process different when you write a song that you plan to sing yourself?
Yeah, I'm figuring that out myself too, because sometimes when you go to write the songs, you don't always know if it's going to be for you or you're going to pitch it for someone else. And sometimes when I write a song thinking it's going to be for someone else, I ended up liking it, and maybe they don't like it or whatever, they didn't cut it, and I thought, actually, that's a great song. And I'd been singing it and had my own voice to it, so it happens different ways. But for this whole album is all co-writes. Every song is a co-write. So I did write every one of them, but it's all co-written with everybody. Right. And in Nashville, that's what you do.
That's right.
I'd never really done that until I moved here, and then when I lived in Nashville, it's like that's all you do. Everybody's hanging out, and it's a fun way to get to know people in this town. And I really appreciate that too, because sometimes some people might think I'm an extrovert, but I love just intimate conversations like this,
Right.
one-on-one with people. And so getting to hang out in a big music town like that instead of just at some live show or whatever was a lot of fun to get to write with people and create something cool. But for the next thing, I want to venture into just doing a lot of solo writing. And I think that the next album I put out, whenever that'll be, I'd like for it to mostly be my own, just me writing everything on my own. So just a change of pace.
Yeah, and show yourself you can, right?
Yeah.
I can do this by myself. Writers emphasize your sense of humor and fun, and there goes another one I think certainly fits that description. Even without seeing what I think the brilliant video, and I was wondering if you were going to come in with the mustache. It evokes memories of Smokey and the Bandit and the Dukes of Hazzard, and maybe even from my generation that old song "Indiana Wants Me" with the police in the background.
Okay.
What planted the first seed for that song?
So that song was originally another song, and I've had this melody for this song for years. Actually, that I was like, in my head, I'm thinking this is going to be a raging old time fiddle tune or something, and then but I never really finished it. It was originally this thing. It's like, I was born to pick this old guitar. I was born to rock your face off. Anyway, didn't have any really great lyrics to it. But then one day I got together with my buddy Christian Ward, who is an IBMA award-winning songwriter.
Right.
So he's killer and an amazing fiddle player too. So Christian and I got together for the first time, and we've written a couple other ones, but this one was my favorite we've done so far. And I had this melody, and I said, let's do something with this. And then he brought up, I started singing some kind of outlaw thing. I said, let's do something running from the cops.
Right.
Let's do something. This is like it's just a mean kind of sounding riff. And I don't always write songs where the music comes first. Sometimes the melody, or in Nashville, it's a big thing where
And isn't that perfect? We got the sound effect. There's a siren.
There's a siren commentary, yeah. But sometimes the title is a big thing in this town. It's like the title's first.
Yeah.
But that was kind of secondary this time. We just had that mean riff, and we're thinking, this is kind of like a running from the cops kind of song. And he came up with that great chorus line, "No highway to yesterday."
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, that's killer,
Yeah, you've got the narrative, but then the chorus you've got your theme in the chorus. It's a little more serious.
Yeah.
It's playful, and then you get to moving forward, can't look back.
So he was great to co-write the song with, and then taking it to the studio was a whole other bag of tricks, because we were doing it some. I had this little local in-town rock and roll Americana thing called Intergalactic Tightrope that we played basically just at D's a couple times.
Oh yeah.
We hadn't. We never really played much other than that, but it was just a little side project for fun. But Christian played fiddle, and we do that kind of with the Tightrope band.
Right.
And but it was fun to translate to bluegrass because it really was driving. And that band with Jason Davis on banjo, and Jeff Parton on bass and dobro, and Jim Van Cleve on fiddle, Aaron Ramsey on the mandolin, and then Kaiser George from Shadowgrass.
Right.
He came in and played secondary guitar, which I was really loved that. He tuned the guitar different than I did, and we'd capo up in different positions, and really had a sonic depth to it that it really added having him there too. And he, sometimes I'll play with other guitar players. It doesn't always like match up rhythmically super well, but he matched me perfectly.
Yeah,
He's just amazing. So
it's fun when the dynamics work like that.
Yes.
Who came up with "There Goes Another One" hook? Was that?
I think that was me. Maybe I'm trying to remember. I always just put them all 50-50 when I write with somebody. I can't remember who wrote what line and all that kind of. I'm not counting score and all that stuff.
Do you kind of collect those hooks? When it's funny, you can be, if you're around songwriters, how somebody will say something and somebody else goes, "Write that down. That's a song."
Yeah.
Did you know that? In that case, and it applies. The another one kind of varies. At some point, you're talking about the honey that leaves the hive.
Yeah. So that was what I think I'd written before that song "Wide Open" that I recently released before this, and that song does the same kind of thing. And I love country songs that kind of have that, where there's more than one meaning to something, or when it can the phrase can kind of be turned on its axis, and that actually means something different this verse or whatever. And so that happened with this song, where he's getting away from the cops on the first one, then his honey leaves
his honey leaves the hive.
Honey leaves the hive. Yeah. And then he says, I'm out of here, you're getting, cops are after you. And the last one is like he dies, our lone desperado,
Right.
Either that or something. I don't know. I left it ambiguous.
I was going to ask that because I thought, who dies? There's a narrative, but who's in the grave is when that
Is
when
it
that,
I know. Is it the cop or is it him?
the bark of the gun? Whose gun? Whose grave? And you
We-
don't
we
tell,
pur-
and that
we
makes it
purpose-
kind of fun.
We purposefully kind of left that open ended and had this whole kind of looking out the window. It got a little metaphysical there for
Right.
a second in my head of how we're writing it, because maybe it's is he in purgatory looking at his own grave from a cloud or a shadow, and or is it more he just killed this guy,
Right.
and is having his own internal, I don't know.
Yep. And I thought it was kind of fun. It's a very visual song, and you managed to pull together a lot of pop culture tropes, but in a real clever way. The hard times, sirens, the revving engines, the blue lights, and how fun was it to kind of collect and work in, figure out the kind of lines that work for a running from the police story.
It's great.
Yeah.
It all happens from, like I was saying, growing up near Mount Airy, North Carolina, which I was so fun to shoot that music video near there, and to get the actual Mayberry police cars.
Oh right,
in
I
there.
saw. Was it Floyd's Barbershop, or there's one of the
the Darlings.
I was
barn,
looking.
and then the old Mayberry jail there. So that was fun to shoot some of that there. But there's a lot of local inspiration for that kind of thing. I grew up in a moonshining family and all
Right.
that kind of stuff, so that's why I'm named Mason, probably.
Oh, yeah. For the jar.
And so
You're born, your mother looks for something. There sits the jar.
I was thinking, it's funny, when I wrote this song, it's there's this line in there, gotta make a deal by the county line, and I'm thinking in my head it's something more risque than moonshine. But then when we shot the music video or whatever, it was well, let's tame it down a little. I don't very well. So.
But if you're not seeing the video, it can be whatever you want to.
It can be whatever you want in your head, and then the whole whatever scene, talking part of it in the break or whatever, that was all just kind of that was all kind of impromptu. We were gonna have some killer break there, but then we were just joking around the studio, and then I was like, I don't know, should we cut that out? And then everybody was like, no, you gotta keep that. It's fun.
And did he say, instead of saying somebody was going how many miles per hour, did I hear him say 175 BPM?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking.
So it's a music joke.
Oh yeah, I ran that back and I said, and I thought it was interesting. You kind of matched the tempo, especially that driving banjo. You matched the tempo to the speed of just a really good old-fashioned car chase. So I think seeing the video reinforces what you hear in the song rather than establishing with the picture. I think you draw the picture all the way through, and
thank you.
And probably growing up near the real Mayberry, did that influence the song before the video, or was that kind of an afterthought to film there?
It was honestly an afterthought. I didn't know I was going to do a music video for the song, but my good buddy Chip Bondurant offered to. So I was going to go play at a little private party kind of thing on the river with him and this other guy, J.B. Large, and some folks near Cana, Virginia. And so was going to go do that, but then Chip, he shoots these classic car videos at these car shows and all this stuff. So he said, I've never made a music video before, but I'd like to, when you come up to do this gig, I'd like to send you home with a little something extra. Why don't we shoot something? And then instead of it being something little, we went all out, and it was a lot of fun,
Oh yeah, even just some of the little minor characters on
He did a great job. I was very thankful for him. But so the local, if you live near the Piedmont, North Carolina, you might recognize Chad Tucker, who was actually an Emmy-winning news journalist there who was like the police officer or whatever,
Right.
channeling Buford T. Justice or Barney Fife or something like
Yeah,
that. Who knows?
yeah.
One of those.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had. You know, you poke a lot of just good-natured fun at the police, and we
Yeah.
do get those Barney Fife or Roscoe P. Coltrane images. How do you manage to kind of keep it the light tone?
Oh, it's all just, I mean, you do a little bit of both. At the end of the day, I mean, you sing about, they don't know right from wrong or whatever, but then this guy is breaking the law too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a conversation.
Right,
But
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
wrong, whatever. This person thinks it's right, this person.
Yeah.
So I'm just showcasing both sides of the story.
Oh yeah,
hopefully.
yeah, and the guy that's trying to get away is naturally going to make the
But
I-
the listener go, let's go, come on,
Is that what we would call the anti-hero?
the anti-hero. Everybody
of the
loves
story.
Deadpool and all
That's
that kind
right,
of stuff
yeah.
these days. Yeah, Joker.
We like to see the guy get away.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, remind me, the kind of the setup where there's somebody who pops out with a badge reminds me of a lot of some family stories of some moonshiners that
Oh, yeah.
I always hear about. Where he comes by and hides in the back seat to catch them. So that's probably not too far fetched from things that really happen.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, when can we expect an album?
So the album comes out on April 25th,
Okay.
and I'll be putting out singles basically every month until then. So the next
Okay.
one comes out February 20th, and it's a love song it's a little after Valentine's Day, but kind of to keep with that, around that theme.
That's right. While we're
Yeah.
thinking of love. So.
Yeah, and it's about, I just got married, like I said, so yeah.
It's a good time to write a love song.
Kind of about Waverly, my wife, a little
Right.
bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Well, what else is coming up next then?
Well, next I'm going to the Folk Alliance. I've never been up there, and I'm going to Montreal, Quebec in February, so that'll be freezing cold.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. I've never been to I have been to Canada, but never to Quebec and Montreal before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm stoked for that. And then I'm going on tour with a fella named Logan Ledger, who's kind of a country crooner
yeah.
here in
Mhm.
town, and he's been collaborating in the bluegrass sphere with the Sam Grisman project a good bit
I heard,
recently.
saw them at the Ryman. Yeah.
Yes, and so I'm really excited about that. Actually, after this, we're going to go shoot a little bit of content and
Yeah.
sing a song or two, hopefully. And then I just announced that I'm going on tour, opening up for Sierra Hull,
Oh, that'd be
which
great.
that's going to be a lot of
That'd be
fun. We've done some stuff in the past where I've opened up for her, and she's just the nicest,
Oh, yeah.
down to earth person. So
So you still finding time to write? Are you working on the solo write
yeah,
yet?
I've honestly taken a little bit of a break over the winter, but I just wrote one with my buddy Thomas Castle over here at 4115,
Oh,
right across the road,
right.
yesterday. So that was fun, and I'm trying to write some more as much as I can, when I have time. My next kind of idea of what I want to get into is these good old classic Southern, country stories that you hear, that maybe somebody tells around on the front porch at the general store.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing, that you all know them.
Right, we
Somebody's
all
like-
have them. Right.
We all have somebody in our life that's like, man, this story, that's a great story. Like, how did that happen? Even if it's one of them fish kind of stories where they expand the truth a little bit. But a friend of mine, he's this wild, I'm trying to run off with this and write something, but he used to work in the coal mine, and to actually hear some of those real stories of what it's like to be a coal miner
Right.
nowadays. And he said he saw this ghost down there, and then like told me the whole other story about what the guy looked like, and then he ended up being kind of looking like this guy who like died in the mine, and like there's a whole other backstory to that. So I've been interested in writing about real stories and
Right.
like taking inspiration from real people. So that's the next kind of chapter of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I think that's, as songwriters are always trying to capture the next one, aren't you?
Yeah, and the
Hear with songwriters' ears.
yeah, and capturing just a piece of real heartland America,
Right.
and that Americana, whatever, storytelling, which is basically what people want to hear when you come to a concert.
Right.
You want to hear a great story. I love the pop stuff as much as possible. And this album, I've had a lot of fun having some of these big hooks and choruses that are like, sing-alongs and stuff. But I love the stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to write a lot more story songs next.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been fun listening to this one and getting ready to talk to you, and looking forward to the album.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And thank you for the Songwriting Committee from IBMA.